Hey, Wilson here for my second video of the day. Just finished my Fugs show just 5 minutes ago, and now I'm going to do another New York band, the Blue Oyster Cult. All right, Long Island, right? Anyways, they were a band. I was unlike the Fugs. I didn't start listening to the Fugs until the '90s. I had cult albums when I was a kid in the '70s. They were one of my early kind of American metal bands or American hard rock bands that I cottoned onto. Difficult to call the cult metal, but they were accepted into those circles, you know. So I don't know. I'm not going to quibble. We start with this CD when they were the Stock Forest group or the Soft White Underbelly before that. This stuff wasn't released at the time. I think that there was a single maybe released from these sessions. I think there's stuff recorded before this too. I don't remember. You can look it up online. This is I'm always touting these Rhino handmade things, aren't I? Or is this just a Rhino disc period? I don't know. Anyways, the Saint Cecilia, the Electra recordings, it's pretty good. They were more, there was always like a kind of a psychedelic vibe to their hard rock on those early Columbia albums, but it's more prevalent here, the psych, you know, because this is like late 60s, very early 70s stuff. Nothing really outstanding to point out to you, but if you're a fan of the Cult, I recommend it, you know, just out of curiosity more than anything else. But the fun really begins in 1972 with the Blue Oyster Cult album. This is the old Mobile Fidelity version. It also has Tyranny Mutation on there. This is not, there's that one. So I'll do them both. These are the two of the early black and white albums where they had black and white album covers. They're kind of similar sounding. They're both really strong. I might go with the first album being the better of the two, but you know, Tyranny Mutation has a strong following as well. I like virtually everything on both of these records. Transmit Icon MC, that we're on the Blue Oyster Cult album now, with the umlaut over the O. MC is Motorcycle Club. It's like a Hell's Angels song, you know, from Altamont for the Stones show in the late 60s. I'm on the Lamb, but I ain't no sheep, which was redone as the Red and the Black as the first track on Tyranny, and that's a better song. Then came The Last Days of May, a really great ballad about a drug deal gone bad, gone south. Stairway to the Stars. Like I said, all these songs are great. Before the Kiss, a Red Cap, which is, you know, they're kissing each other and they pass a pill, a drug, I think it's a pill, a drug, probably some kind of amphetamine through their lips. Screams, she's as beautiful as a foot. Seas on Flame with Rock and Roll is a great early number. I used to play that on the radio. They got that riff. That's from the Black Sabbath song The Wizard on their first album from 2 years prior. Workshop with the Telescopes, which was the name of a 2-disc Cult CD compilation, which I used to have. I don't know if I still do. And Redeemed, which they didn't write the lyrics to that one, I don't think. Tyranny Mutation is divided, the vinyl was anyway, into the black and the red, the black side and the red side. The black side is freaking wall-to-wall classics. Red and the Black, I already told you about, it's the Canadian Mounties getting their man. OD'd on Life Itself is probably the slowest number on that side, but it's still great. Hot Rails to Hell, and then 7 Screaming Disbusters. But Lucifer is the Light. That's the longest track on the album. That's a flawless side 1. Baby Ice Dog is on side 2, which Patti Smith helped with the lyrics on that. She was dating Alan, I think, Alan Lanier. Wings Wetted Down is good. Teen Archer and Mistress of the Salmon Salt, which I call Quicklime Girl. Another really strong album. Side 2, perhaps not as good as side 1, but these are 2 of their strongest ever albums. Okay, what I'm going to use for the rest of this video is this, folks. This is what you need. These are all the Columbia albums. Again, I'm sure it's out of print. Look at that. Beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This got more stuff than that, though, on here. Plus, when you first bought it, you could use a code and download live shows, which I did. All right. So, nice little cardboard reproductions of the albums. There's the first 2 that I just covered. All right. All right. So, the third album, and many say their best, is called Secret Treaties. All right? Yeah, I'm not going to even try to read that. So, you know what? I'm going to pause this for a second because I'm going to get the quad version. Okay, this is the audio fidelity. It is the quad mix. There have been times I have thought that this was their best album, but really it's the first 3. So yeah, I'll hold this up while I go over the track listing for you. Okay, Career of Evil. Alan wrote that with Patti Smith. You know, she would contribute her lyrics to BOC numbers in these days. Subhuman. There's a great live version of that, which opens up the next record. Dominance and Submission. These are all classics. ME-262 is the plane, World War II German plane that's on there. KG Creedon's Harvester of Eyes. They would have those creepy numbers. Fame and Telepath is freaking great. And Astronomy is one of their great ever songs. You get their version of Born to Be Wild as a B-side. So this is the last of the black and white albums. And if you said that these 3 records are their best, I wouldn't argue with you. In fact, I would extend that, though, to include this. On Your Feet or On Your Knees. There's a lot of live cult out there. Hell, there's 3 live albums I'll be talking about today. This is the best one, though. It never was recorded that well, but this CD sounds all right. Let's go over the songs on that one. The Subhuman, The Harvester of Eyes, Hot Wheels to Hell, The Red and the Black, there's nothing on here. Well, Buck's Boogie, that was new. Then came the Last Days of May, Season of Flame. Yeah, okay, I wouldn't even go because, I Got You, Maserati, GT, the same, what was it? Clarence Carter song that the Yardbirds covered. And then their version of Born to Be Wild, the Mars Bonfire, Steppenwolf cut. It's a great live album, kicks ass. And you know I'm a fan of live albums, and so if you wanted to really posit that this was better than the first 3, I don't know, I wouldn't argue, but it is a double record, and it's got most of their best material on here in really good live versions. So, okay, then the big one, 76, that was 75. Agents of Fortune, here's the mobile fidelity version. God, I hate all that glare. All right. Was this the first one I ever owned as a kid? It could have been. I was 11 years old when it came up. I don't know if I bought it right away. Anyways, as good as it is, as famous as it is, I don't think it's as good as any of the previous BOC LPs. It's still strong, though. This Ain't the Summer of Love is fantastic. True Confessions is a more commercial bent for them. It has the immortal Birds Like Don't Fear the Reaper, which, if you only had room on Desert Island for one BOC song, I guess that would be it, right? Revenge of Vera Gemini, whatever. It's Patti Smith does the intro on that. Then, you can decide 2, not quite as interesting, but still good. Sinful Love, Tattoo Vampire, Morning Final, Tenderloin, and Debbie Denise. None of those songs are classic BOC, but none of them are bad either. All right? It's a nighttime sounding album, as indeed all of their stuff is. I like it. Here's the, the one that's in the box. All right? That's what the vinyl looked like. Okay. 1977, another one of their strong ones. This was another big album for me. I was in junior high school. Spectres. Although when I listen to it now, I think it's only about half good. It isn't even as good as Agents of Fortune. But the half that's good is strong. Let's just go over the titles. Okay. It has the immortal Godzilla, which was all over the radio. That song had to have charted, but it wasn't a top 40 hit. BOC in the 70s, in their heyday, only had Don't Fear the Reaper, which actually charted in the top 40. Golden Age of Leather, Death Valley Nights, Searching for Celine, Fireworks. Are You Ready to Rock was a lot. That's on the next live album. Celestial Queen, Going to the Motions. I love it. It picks up at the end. I love The Night and Nosferatu, two vampire songs which go well together. So it starts off really strong and it ends strong. Stuff in the middle, is okay. But anyways, that's Spectres. I probably liked it more when I was a kid than I do now. There were simply too many better albums in 1977. But BOC fans like this, and we are what counts. All right, Some Enchanted Evening. Boy, I had this one when I was a kid. In fact, at this point, when you bought this album, you could send away, and it took months for it to come in the mail, for the lyrics. I thought I was just going to get the lyrics to this album. They sent me the lyrics to all their albums. By the way, Martin Popoff, the Canadian metal writer, has a good book on BOC, which goes some way towards explaining their rather arcane lyrics. This even has... God, does this have a... No? I have a version somewhere of this, which has a DVD. Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah. So, it's blurry. Looks like you're watching TV in the 70s. But, yeah, it's a strong live album. I don't think it's as good as On Your Feet or On Your Knees, but, what is? Okay. Here's one, Mirrors, that I did not have growing up. I did not hear this album until I bought this box set. All right, Mirrors is fairly good. I'm going to say it might be their weakest album of the 70s, but again, none of these albums are bad. Doctor Music is good, Great Sun Gesture. They played that one on the radio. Alan, he's thinking about Patti Smith, whom he had already broken up with because she was already with Fred Sonic Smith. Mirrors is good. The Vigil is really strong. And the rest of the album is just okay. But Mirrors, 1979. But they really weren't starting to go downhill yet, because this one, Cultosaurus erectus, in 1980, I did buy this at the time. And this is a strong record. It doesn't have anything that was played on the radio, but cut for cut, I'm going to say that this is one of their better albums. Black Blade is like the Elric of Monibene number that Michael Moorcock would help write some of the lyrics too. So did Sandy Pearlman, so did Richard Meltzer. They, and along with Patty, they always had a lot of outside help, which made them interesting. Monsters is good, Divine Wind, Deadline, that's a strong one. Marshall Plan, Hungry Boys, Fallen Angels, all these songs are good. Lips in the Hills and Unknown Tongue. So, yeah, I'm going to say Cultosaurus erectus is one of their stronger efforts. Some kind of weird dinosaur which never existed. All right. But their last great album, Fire of Unknown Origin. Oh, it's a single. I was living in Stockton when this came out. It had a song on here which is on the Heavy Metal soundtrack. Remember that movie? I got that movie. I had the double LP. So Blue Öyster Cult were still a popular ongoing band at the time. And of course this has their big hit on it, Burning for You. But the song Fire of Unknown Origin, that's a strong one. Burning for You is a classic. Veteran of the Psychic Wars, that's the one that was on the metal soundtrack. Soul Survivor, Heavy Metal, then Black and Silver is rockin' hard. Vengeance, After Dark, Joan Crawford is one of the highlights of the album, and Don't Turn Your Back. So yeah, this is the last time, 1981, that they would really essay an album that I can get behind and recommend to you. Still fairly interesting. I remember playing this in a friend of mine's garage at the time, working out, is their third live album, Extraterrestrial Live. All right. think this is the one they bring out Robbie Krieger for a number, don't they? They always had like a bit of a Doors influence. They played Doors licks on a song from the On Your Feet or On Your Knees album, which I don't remember which one it is right now. I'm going to the songs here. Oh, well, they play Roadhouse Blues, so that's the one that they bring Robbie out. Otherwise, nothing new on here besides Roadhouse Blues. But it's strong, and it ends the classic period of BOC well in 1982. 3 live albums. They were proud of their live prowess. Revolution by Night comes out in 83. This is not a strong record, although I've heard BOC fans try to make excuses for it. It does have a great song, though. The first one, Take Me Away, which was written by Aldo Nova, or at least co-written. He had a hit at the time in the early 80s. And Shooting Shark, I think, was a charting hit, which Roser, or Buck Dharma, wrote with Patti Smith. She was still contributing lyrics as late as 1983. Rest of the album does not do anything for me. So I can't say too much for Revolution by Night, but it at least has one great song. This one, Club Ninja from 86, no, I can't. There's nothing great on here. This is going to stand as their worst album, I think, from the 70s or the 80s. But in the minds of many, a slight rebound with the Imaginos project. Imaginos was supposed to be a story. It was supposed to be a story that they had in mind all along, about this being who rises to power or whatever. I did not research any of this before I started the video. It's been a long time since I've read about it. The whole band is not even playing on this album, so some cult fans don't even consider this to be a real BOC record, but others think this is the last good one. So anyways, after this, they were dropped by Columbia. Here's a rarities disc, which is of some interest. Here's best of some, radio broadcasts. Again, there's so much live cult out there. And then, like I said, you could download some live shows. So I don't know what this is going for anymore, guys. I suspect, like everything else in life, it's expensive, but it is the way to own the Columbia albums. That's what it looks like, again, if you're interested. So, BOC, yeah, always a popular, without being massively popular, rock band. I knew a guy in college in the mid-'80s that was as late as the mid-'80s, when they weren't even that good anymore, for whom that was his favorite band, So, although I haven't really met too many people like that. I've always been the biggest BOC fan that I know. So, well, besides this one guy. His name was George. Shout out to George. I doubt you're watching this now. So, yeah, Blue Öyster Cult, one of the great New York groups. Are they metal or not? Doesn't really concern me. They're a great hard rock band. I've said this many times, Americans didn't have metal bands in the 70s on the level of what was coming out of Britain. We had great hard rock bands like BOC, like Aerosmith, like Van Halen later on. There's plenty of great Ted Nugent songs. But Alice Cooper, I gotta do an Alice Cooper show too. But BOC don't seem to be that remembered. Wearing my Nuggets shirt, garage rock. And they should be. And that's kind of like why I do some of these videos. It's certainly why I did the Fugs earlier today. As we get farther and farther away from the 60s and the 70s and the 20th century in general, it's like the cream rises to the top and we only talk about the same bands over and over again. But there was a whole lot of great music in the 70s besides Led Zeppelin and Bowie, or whoever you think is the epitome of that time period. BOC were one of them. All right, so Matt Wilson signing off. Until next time.